We're probably in an AI bubble, but I got a job in AI going into 2026, and here's how I did it. My name is Bryson. Welcome to Simulacra. All right, so everyone has heard of the hype in AI. These top tech companies are spending billions of dollars in AI infrastructure, GPUs, and compute. And all of this spending allows the opportunity for us to reskill and get a job in AI, creating AI or marketing AI or developing AI so that we can, bolster ourselves against the coming AI apocalypse. It is what it is. So, I'm going to go through how I got into AI, what sorts of skills I learned to get into the AI industry, my background, and what I'm doing going into 2026 to learn AI and keep my skills fresh. Now, with all that being said, I don't know how good AI will ultimately become in the future or how many jobs will be displaced, but I do know that we can use this time to reskill, learn AI, and learn how to use AI and learn how to make AI more productive for everyone and how we can share the compute. Because that's ultimately what we need to do with this AI race, is share the compute amongst everyone so everyone can enjoy the productivity gains from AI, the proposed productivity gains from AI. Learn important tenets of AI development and marketing, and ultimately how we can imbue human in the loop and trustful AI principles so that AI can work for everyone. So my background is in biological engineering. I got my degree from the University of Georgia, and I started in the medical device industry working on automated machines. I wrote automated test scripts, validated automated machines, and wrote software quality documentation for these machines. When ChatGPT came out, I honed in on my experience in working with automated machines to learn more about generative AI, prompt engineering, and agentic AI. So what do I do now? Well, now I help companies with their AI development and operations. I lead agentic version and skill repository management, overall AI operations, and handle the regression and smoke testing when you're migrating up from development to staging to production environments. I also write and score LLM rubrics and outputs based on expected output, rules, and if an LLM's response was harmful, helpful, or not helpful at all. I also score the LLMs based on model sentiment and tool or skill availability. So how exactly did I know what skills I needed to learn and what skills I already had to be successful in the AI industry? Well, I went to LinkedIn and I looked at AI related jobs and AI jobs. I looked at the job description to see what skills I had and what skills I needed for AI related roles. Skills like prompt engineering, context management, interpretation understanding, contextual retrieval, and a myriad of other AI skills will really help you in this AI race and getting a job in the AI industry. So, for prompt engineering and learning how to be a great prompt engineer, you need to learn to create robust prompts full of problem statements, expected outputs, examples, rules, tools that the agent has access to, and a lot of other prompting techniques that I can go into in another video. Context management is also super important. Context management is the practice of looking at the utility of the tokens that an LLM is referring to when it's being sampled. It's really an engineering optimization problem. It's optimizing the utility of these tokens in a certain context window whenever your agent is referring to that context window. A good way to imbue your agent with really good context is to use vectors and embedded vectors. Vectors and embedding a context into a vector is just the practice of taking an external or internal document, and that document could be your knowledge base. It could be your refund policy, for instance. You would chunk that document into chunks, and then each of those chunks would be converted into vector embeddings. And those vector embeddings would be placed in a vector database that can now be searched for by their semantic meaning. Semantic meaning just means what context is the thing you're searching for, what is the context of that? So if I had a vector embedding in a vector database full of fruit, and I was searching for strawberries, I could search for red fruit, and I would find strawberries. Maybe I don't know, something close to a strawberry, like a watermelon. It's not red on the outside, but on the inside it's red, and you get what I'm saying. So you would be able to search inside your vector database for your chunks in vector format, and that's a good way for your agent to have good context. Now, you can also bolster that context with adding context to each of those chunks. So when your agent gets a context ID and it gets a chunk, it also has a little blurb or note basically describing what that chunk from your knowledge base is saying. Contextual retrieval is also a really good way to bolster your context management. And that brings us to interpretation and being good at understanding what interpretation is when it comes to AI systems. Interpretation is just the practice of seeing if your LLM understands the user inputs and your user understands the LLM outputs. Basically, does the user and LLM understand each other, and how do you correct any interpretation problems that you see? Now, a good technique for elucidating interpretation issues would be interpretation triage, which is the practice of determining why an LLM's output is unreasonable, unhelpful, or just harmful in general. It involves looking at interpretation. Does your user and LLM understand each other? Or is the agent picking the right skill or tool to actually fulfill the user's input request? Or is there an actual problem with the platform? This could be latency or UI problems. Maybe you haven't implemented a timeout feature when a user is asking an agent a question, and that question just loops forever while an agent is looking for a output for that input. And so you would want to add a feature so that you're not wasting tokens and you're not ultimately wasting money, and so that your agent times out after a while of not answering your user question. It's good because you're saving money, and it's good on the user end because you don't want your users getting frustrated by having to wait for outputs. And so those are a little bit of the skills that you really need to hone in on if you want to get a job in the AI industry. There's a lot of opportunity, and there's a lot of free resources for you to learn about AI and how to get into the AI industry. And remember, all AI jobs are not only about coding. There are a lot of non-coding and operational and marketing jobs in AI. But learning these skills will help you overall with the skills that you already have to make it and break into the AI industry. And with all that being said, I started making content and started an AI development and consulting company to put myself into the AI industry. And I was able to make money and be paid from my efforts. And so I believe all of you out there can get a job in AI, learn these skills, and really take your own destiny into your own hands. There's a lot of free resources, and as long as you have the motivation to put aside 2 to 3 hours a day to learn a new skill, you will succeed. And so that's another video from Simulacra. Remember to buy Bitcoin at any price, stack your sats, and share this video with your friends, like the video, and subscribe. Thanks, everyone.